Hi there, it's Sam from poodles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is this one. It is an enormous lidded box. It is huge, it's hand stamped, it's part of my Use It Up challenge because the lid is made with a piece of 6x6 paper and I have got loads of scraps of 6x6 of this left over from a project in all sorts of different patterns. And the box, well, the box isn't part of the Use It Up challenge, it's this bit that is. But actually, last week I made an enormous bag for you that was with the Pop of Pink Designer Series paper. And I said to you that if you are making a cardstock version and you wanted to have the top pinched in, like that one, you would have to put score lines in. But I decided I was going to take those same measurements and leave the box, and instead of pinching it in, stick a lid on it. So there you go, and it's all hand stamped, so I'm going to do it again. And I'm working with the same box colour because it is Flirty Flamingo that's in here. There's also Watermelon Wonder, Night of Navy, Daffodil Delight, and I can't remember what this brown is. I'm going to say Sahara Sand. Let me look at my notes. Crumb Cake. There we go. But I fancied going Flirty Flamingo again, so let me move that out of the way. You need to stamp it first. 12 by 12, full 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock. Oh, I know! You're all going, oh, how can she do that? But it's going to be worth it. Okay, my Love and Affection stamp set. I'm going to take this big flower and get that on a block ready. And I'm going to take my little sort of wispy centre, that's this one, and get that on a block ready. And let's get stamping. And I'm going to chatter away because I like to do that. And I probably need to re-ink that. Shall I re-ink that now? No, I will just go for it and we'll see what happens. So random stamping makes me very happy. And it's one of the girls in my team is a real master at it. And that's Caroline, who is Crafty Caroline Creates. And she is a massive fan of hand stamping her own cardstock. And you know, I'm doing a very simplistic version. I'm doing tone on tone stamping, but she makes paper that you'd be like, I want to buy that paper. And whenever I see one of her projects that's hand stamped, I go, oh, I've got to do that too. I need to go and do it. She's made me go and do it. So, and this kind of, you know, if I'd have done a cardstock box that was just plain cardstock, it might have been a little bit boring. So this negates that. Right, that didn't take long, did it? So let's get in the centres of all of these. Definitely need to re-ink. Let's work around the edges. You can see it, look at it, it's all faded in the middle. But if I pick up the ink on the edges, then, you know, it's fine. I'm not looking at what I'm doing with inking, I'm actually looking at the cardstock. So despite this being a big project, it's actually quite quick. Even this hand stamping is quick. Last few. There we go. Last one. Is that all of them? I think so. How quick was that? Super quick. Right, let's get scoring. So I've got my lid, 6x6, and I've got my base, and it doesn't matter which side you start on. So obviously it's 12 by 12, so 30 by 30 centimetres. So you need to trim yours down a little bit, metric folk. And score on the first side at 2 7/8 of an inch, 5 3/4, 8 5/8, and 11.5 inches. And in metric that's 7, 14, 21, 28. Turn it round and score it at 2 7/8 of an inch, which is 7 centimetres. So that's the box base, and now we're going to do the lid. So this is 6 by 6 inches, and don't score it at half an inch on each side because that wouldn't be right. And I've written 4 centimetres. Why have I said? I've written down half an inch and that would not be right. That should be 1.5 inches. I'm going to add to my notes. I would if I could find a pen. There we go. Look at this. Half an inch. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches on all 4 sides, so 4 centimetres all 4 sides. Can't take me anywhere, can you? I write down all these notes and I think that's fine, and you miss out a digit. Bit of a major theme there. Right, so burnish up your school lines. And we're going to build the base first because we're going to fit the lid round the base. Oh, wibbling all my grid paper. So I'm getting low. I work on grid paper all the time and I film on grid paper, and I like to film on a full stack, but I've only got about 8, maybe 15, there's not very much there, so it's not heavy, it's not sitting in place. I couldn't possibly work on 1 sheet of grid paper. I have to work on the whole stack. It moves around too much and I can feel the desktop, whereas this has got enough give in it. Right, so this is the bottom of the box where the score line is, so there's a little skinny section there. Get rid of that and then cut straight up those score lines. I'm looking for my big long scissors. So trim away there. And when I made this box in the paper version, we pinched the top. Now, if you want to do a pinch top but without the lid, you'd put a little mark at the top there and score down, you know, maybe a full, you could even maybe do a full triangle down, and then it would pinch in perfectly. I'm not doing that. I'm putting a lid on it. Right, let's get some fast fuse down here. So that's the back, so we're going to fold in 2 sides and the back, get some fuse on here, and that's the bottom. So on my paper version I went like that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to fit this lid around this. So to make the lid, I think you're probably going to see that side better. I've got these squares, so I'm going to cut straight down the rectangle and into the square on both sides. Like that. It doesn't actually have to be as deep as that wedge, but it doesn't really matter, just as long as you haven't got a little spindly bit. So that's what you're left with all your edges out. So fast fuse on here, on all these outer tab points. And get the first one, the first corner sorted and in place, and put your lid down. Now, if I do it like that, you're going to see nothing, but what I've got is I've put that into place and fitted it into the corner, which means, and I'm going to hover this, I will hover it simply just to show you now, but then, sorry, you're not going to see very much after that. And then do the opposite corner. So this is the corner I have glued. Let me put it this way up and it's a little less fally aparty. And then do the opposite corner. This is probably not going to work while I'm holding it in the air. That's my other opposite corner done. So I've glued the other corner. And like I say, I don't know how well you're going to see this. I don't know if I can do it with you being able to see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm fitting the lid around the box. Hopefully you could see that okay. And then this final one. And then that lid is a perfect fit. And it's a perfect fit on there. Actually, to be fair, this one isn't a perfect fit because I was a bit wibbly trying to show everybody. But that's it on. Right, let's finish off with some Flirty Flamingo ribbon from bottom to top. So if you ended up with a wibbly lid like mine, this will keep it on. Normally that is very tight, but like I say, the height of this box is so big that it's difficult to show you on camera. So let's turn this over so I don't tie a bow right up in the camera lens. Now I really can't see what I'm doing. I need to have it down like this, but the camera lens is too close. This is probably completely out of focus. That's how close it is. My camera lens is exactly at eye height for me, so that I'm trying to point at something you can't see, but the viewfinder is right at my eye line, so I haven't got my head cricked back or anything like that. But that means that this is super close to you. But there we go. Love it. Let's bring the other one back in. Great for a user tap challenge, but also a way to put a lid on the box that I made for you last week. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you very soon.